Good morning, everyone. 10 o'clock on the 3rd of July. The US markets are all closed today, so I don't see there'll be much action. That's VectorVest USA. That's how it closed last night. Short-term trend is up, medium underlying trend is up. Our medium-term market timing system, the DEW, is up, and the longest-term measure of the trend on VectorVest is up. The advances yesterday a little bit ahead of the declines. A very good day, it would seem. So let's have a look at the actual chart itself. That's the VectorVest composite, folks. And that green triangle is the medium-term market timing signal that I've been following, and it's been long of the market since the 6th of April, and it's been a great run. We've come up here, and we'll look at the detail of this on the S&P in a second. But the green line study down below the price is in fact the VectorVest proprietary buy-sell ratio, a measure of the breadth of the advance. And a little worryingly, we've made a double top here, but the buy-sell ratio in fact couldn't follow. So that's a divergence, folks, and that's not a good signal. So I repeat that a DEW sell signal, like this red triangle, printed here, needs to be taken very seriously indeed. Nevertheless, we could quite easily go up and make a double top here. We could quite easily go up and make a 1.618 extension of that pullback, which would take us up to about there. So there could be legs in this. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. But nevertheless, the only thing that I'm sure of is that this trend on the upside is starting to look very mature indeed. So just be very, very careful with open profits. So let's have a look at the S&P. And again, you're back to my bars, because when I trade with bars. This high on Thursday, please excuse me, was 10 S&P points higher than this. So it went up, took out all the obvious stops that were sitting above that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 day consolidation, and in fact reversed. Although the candle the bar is green, that simply means that the close was higher than the close yesterday, but the close was also lower than the open. So that is a reversal day, found resistance at that level. So the next level the market needs to get through is through those tops, somewhere up around 3165, 3170. That's the next level it needs to get through. I think that it can do that, but I think we need to be careful. We always need to be careful. There's that little triangle that would seem to have broken. And with any luck, we'll move up to that 1.618 extension. I think if that's the case, then on both sides of the Atlantic we can do exceptionally well. That divergence worries me, but all is good. The DEW is still in place, and I'm going to hold my positions as long as that DEW remains positive in both the US and in the UK. So let's have a look at the UK in a bit more detail. It was a good day. Yesterday, the last time I looked this morning, the market was flat, and I would expect that to continue. So the underlying trend is up. The primary wave is up, so short-term and underlying are both up. The confirmed up has been in place since the 27th of April. And we've got a green light here which tells us that the strength and the momentum of the short-term trend is good. So again, let's have a look at the VectorVest composite. And that's the composite for the UK, folks, and it's made a little double top here. And at the same time, the buy-sell ratio hasn't been able to actually get to the party. I think that this can go higher, and if we go back to that last high, which happened towards the end of 19, what am I talking about? We've got a 78% retracement up here. And if I actually do a fib extension of this little pullback, you can see that they all sit around the same place here. So I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a push up here towards that level. So all looks good. Again, the trend looks very mature indeed, and I think that we all have to be very careful. What can easily happen is that we can go sideways all summer, which would be fine, or we could have a sell-off down till 62% of this little bit of a pullback. That's the most optimistic situation, and I'm sure that if you've been looking at the news and reading the comments of many technicians out there, they're expecting a much more pessimistic scenario than that. So we need to be very careful with open profits. And we had a very good day in the UK yesterday. If I look at viewers, those are the shares that I've been holding. I've taken a technical trade in Avast, so I'm just going to chart these for us. Graph those. There we go. There's Games Workshop back on the path again, pushing up to 85. It seems unstoppable, this share. Looking very good indeed. The textbook spring here, for those of you that know my work, I'll put on the DEW. That was the sell signal. I think you would agree. One needs to take DEW sell signals very seriously, and that's the buy signal on the 7th of April, and going very nicely indeed. This is starting to move into a normal trend, whereas this was a strong trend. But market pulled back to the last old top. That's a normal trend. Normally means that there's more legs in this. Avast is the share that I took. Now, if you look at the fundamentals of all the shares that I've been holding, apart from Avast, they've all got an exceptionally high relative safety. Avast is an exception, and I just could not resist, ladies and gentlemen, this cup and handle formation. I always like to see a market coming back and kissing, and you can see the little tweezer bottoms here. Still got to get through this old high at 550, but it's a technical play. I think hopefully with any luck it'll be okay. Avon Rubber seems to have broken out of this little triangle. I think this is a great share, folks. Probably it should be bought and forgotten about. All right. They sold off their agricultural division the other day. That seems to have helped. This is Lion Trust. Lion Trust charted a little spring formation here, and clearly highs that it needs to get through. But I think that share can make £15. Just be careful of a Lion Trust, folks. It's relatively illiquid. So if you're holding a big chunk of it, you're going to have to sell it piecemeal to get a reasonable price. JD, I'm very happy at our Q&A session a couple of weeks ago. One of the members there noticed that there was a spring setting up here, and the smartest money was buying it at about £6, and it looks to me with a fair win behind it, and by a fair win behind it I mean that the general market can in fact keep going, then I think that this thing can go much higher. If we wanted to work out a target on it, well, you go to your fib tool, go from there to there, and the 1.618 would be the target. That's a target a tad under £8 if you're a swing trader. If you are a longer term position trader, it's on a buy recommendation. Do your best to keep your hands off it, and watch your stops carefully. That's Diploma, and it sat around these levels for a long time. Some really good fibs on here from the sell-off. It stopped at 78% of the big advance and pushing up, not shooting the lights out, but doing fine. There's Halma. There's another share, folks, that I think should probably locked away and forgotten about. This is a great stock. Already broken the February highs and charting a little triangle here again with a reasonable breeze behind it. That should go higher. BH Macro I bought just here, starting to move. I like this little inside day after a big day up. If that breaks, it should go much higher with any luck. The GB Group hanging in there, and Cranswick moving up from this major area of support. A great stock, Cranswick, again one of those ones I think should be just locked away and pretty much forgotten about. And Howden Joinery, a line in the sand somewhere about here. That's the only share that I've got that's on a hold recommendation. So all of the shares, folks, if I go back to you see all RS, relative safety measures the safety and the predictability of the earnings, apart from Avast. Avast, the fundamentals, not great on VectorVest. Growth rate not bad at 15%, but I just couldn't resist that technical pattern, and let's see how it goes. Avast, thus, folks, is not for everybody. It's only for those people that have got the time or the inclination, should I say, to manage stop losses proactively. In other words, you just got to keep your eye on it, and if it goes down below the VectorVest stop loss, that you just simply run for cover. Okay, so the stop loss is at 483. I close below 483 and I'm gone. So folks, Monday afternoon, 1:30, I'll be online. Anybody listening to this that's not a VectorVest subscriber, then please email me, traderdavy@gmail.com, davy@gmail.com, and I can give you a one-off login to our Monday afternoon sessions. If you want a 30-day trial of VectorVest, go to vectorvest.co.uk and you should see the trial box there. It's £5.95 for a 30-day trial. Thanks very much indeed. Bye.